What's going on, everyone? If you're looking for great stopping power for your Gen 1 Raptor, no better place to stop and look at than Hawk Performance. These are their Hawk tail-on rotors. They're drilled and slotted to dissipate all the heat. Also, we're installing their LTS ferrocarbon pads that have low dust but great gripping power to help that truck stop. So let me show you how to install these Hawk rotors and pads on our Gen 1 Raptor. Our first step to removing our brakes is to remove the caliper. It's a 13 millimeter. Once you have the bolts out of the caliper, slide it back and forth and it'll pop right out. Just tuck it out of the way for right now. Remove your pads. As you can see, our pads are ready to be changed out for some new Hawk ones. Now for a real quick tip, remember to look at your pads. They are directional. So to see with the one with no bumps goes on the outside of the rotor, and the one with the bumps goes closer to the pistons on the inside. To remove your caliper bracket, it's 21 millimeter, one on the top, one on the bottom. Last step, take the rotor off. Sometimes it's seized on there, so just take a hammer to the backside. Before reinstalling your new rotor, make sure the surface is clean, and then you grab the right side rotor. Actually, they have it labeled on the rotor where it says right and left. Slide that into place and then put your caliper bracket back on. Put a little red Loctite on your caliper bracket bolts. Put them back into place. Once you have them back into place, tighten them down and then torque them down to 184 foot-pounds. Now before I put the new pads in, I always like to make sure my slide pins are moving okay. If you have any pins that are sliding a little rough, pull them back out and then re-grease them, and then slide them back in and make sure they're moving. Grab your new Hawk LTS pad, put some of the grease on the ends and on the back face. It just helps the noise and the chatter. And then remember, inside and outside pads, so we have no bumps. This goes on the outside of the rotor. There we go. Here's the inside pad. Once again, it has the humps, goes on the back side. Before you reinstall your caliper, remember to compress your pistons back in to fit it back onto the new pads. Once you have that done, slide them into place, push your slide pins in. Once you have it all in place, take your caliper bolts, put those on, tighten them down. Once you finish on the passenger side, jump onto the driver's side, and then we'll jump onto the rear. The rear is super easy to install. All we have to do is take out one bolt, and all you need is a flat blade screwdriver. So we're gonna take out the one 10 millimeter bolt. With the caliper still in place and the bolt out, you're gonna take your flat blade screwdriver, take it in front of the rotor, and push the caliper while pushing the piston back in. Once your piston is pushed back in, you can take out your caliper with the pads. Just pull up on it. Sometimes you have to wiggle the old pads out. They are stubborn. Once you get your pads out of your caliper, you can remove your rotor. When installing your new rear rotor, remember to make sure that your rotor slides on, but still has just a little bit of tension on the rear pads so that you can reuse your e-brake. This one's just a little loose, so we're gonna readjust it, then we'll move on to the pads. Now remember when ordering your pads for your Raptor, there's two different styles of pads for the rear on a Gen 1 Raptor. There's post 12 and pre 12. Ours is a pre 12, so we have the ones with the springs on them. Slide it into the caliper. Install your front one. Once you have both your pads in, and then you can just slide them in. Once you have your pads and caliper in place, Just tighten down your brakes. Once you finish this side, jump on the other side, then your installation is complete. Okay, now that we installed these amazing brakes from Hawk Performance, you're gonna have some great stopping power for your Raptor. Now with the Hawk tail and rotors and the pads, there is a break-in period that you have to do. Now Hawk offers a nice bedding procedure on their instructions. I would follow these instructions to what they say to bed it in your vehicle. After you do that, your installation is complete. If you wanna buy these Hawk rotors and pads, go to cjponyparts.com.